Imagine waking up on a version of Earth that does not feel like home. Not because the sky is different, not because the oceans are gone, but because the world itself feels colder, harsher, quieter, and far less forgiving. During the Ice Age, massive sheets of ice did not just sit near the poles. They spread across huge parts of the planet, covering entire regions under walls of frozen weight so vast they are almost impossible to picture. In some places, the ice was miles thick. It crushed landscapes, buried forests, and reshaped continents. But this was not a planet locked in one endless snowstorm. That is the first surprise. The Ice Age was a world of extremes. There were frozen deserts, brutal winds, dry, open plains stretching for thousands of miles. And between the ice, there were lands where life still fought to survive. Sea levels were far lower than they are today, so low that parts of the world now drowned beneath the ocean were once exposed land. You could walk across places that are now underwater. Entire coastlines looked nothing like the ones we know. This was Earth, but stripped down, colder, wilder, more dangerous. And yet, humans were there. They did not rule this world. They endured it. Because the Ice Age was not just a frozen chapter in Earth's history, it was a test. A brutal, beautiful test of whether life, and especially us, could survive a planet that seemed designed to break us. If you stood in Ice Age Earth and looked around, the planet would feel bigger. Not because it was larger, but because it was emptier. No cities, no roads, no engines in the distance, no lights on the horizon. Only wind, only cold, only vast open land that seemed to go on forever. Much of the world was covered in steppe tundra, a strange and severe landscape of grasses, low plants, frozen soil, and endless exposure. It was dry in many places, not soft and snowy like in movies. This was not a magical winter world. It was a survival world. Dust moved across the plains. Temperatures plunged. Storms could arrive with little mercy, and food was never guaranteed. But this empty world was not lifeless. It moved with giants. Woolly mammoths crossed the plains like living mountains. Woolly rhinos pushed through the cold. Reindeer, bison, cave lions, and enormous bears lived in landscapes where only the strongest could last. To early humans, these were not museum animals. They were neighbors, threats, food, competition. Every journey was risk. Every hunt was a gamble between survival and death. And there was another strange truth hidden inside this frozen world. Because so much water was locked inside ice, the shape of the planet changed. Land bridges appeared. New migration routes opened. Worlds that are now separated by ocean were once connected by land. The Ice Age did not just change the climate. It changed the map of human destiny. This may be the most unbelievable part of all. Humans did not simply survive the Ice Age. They adapted to it. They learned how to live inside one of the most punishing environments our species had ever faced. Not with modern machines, not with electricity, not with steel, but with fire, tools, animal skins, memory, and cooperation. That is what made the difference. In a world like this, being alone was almost a death sentence. Cold kills slowly, but it kills with patience. It drains heat, energy, movement, hope. And once the body begins to fail, the landscape does not care. So humans became more than hunters. They became planners, builders, storytellers, problem solvers. They made shelters, sewed clothing, used bone, stone, and ivory. They followed herds, read seasons, and remembered where survival was possible. And somewhere in that freezing darkness, the human mind kept changing. Because extreme worlds do something to a species. They do not just pressure the body, they pressure intelligence. The Ice Age may have sharpened us, forced us to think ahead, forced us to work together, forced us to imagine tomorrow before tomorrow arrived. And while glaciers moved like slow monsters across the earth, humans kept moving too. Across plains, across valleys, across exposed land that no longer exists. The cold did not stop us, it shaped us. Which means the Ice Age was not only a story about frozen land and vanished animals, it was also the stage on which humanity proved it would not disappear quietly. And yet, for all its danger, the Ice Age must have been breathtaking. Try to picture it. Walls of blue-white ice glowing under a pale sun, frozen rivers, endless plains under silver light, northern skies burning with stars untouched by modern pollution. A silence so deep it would feel almost sacred. It must have been beautiful. But beauty in the Ice Age came with teeth, because this world was always one bad winter, one failed hunt, one injury away from death. A twisted ankle could end everything. A sudden freeze could wipe out food. A predator in the dark could turn night into disaster. Even the land itself was unstable. Glaciers advanced and retreated over time, grinding rock into dust, carving valleys, crushing whatever stood in their path. Whole ecosystems shifted. Animals migrated. Temperatures rose and fell. Nothing was fully secure. And maybe that is what makes the Ice Age so haunting. It was familiar enough to recognize, but brutal enough to feel almost alien. The mountains were here, the sky was here, the moon still watched from above, but the earth people walked on felt raw, unfinished, and merciless. This was not the gentle world that raised modern civilization. This was an older Earth, a harder Earth. A version of the planet that could still remind every living thing of one simple truth: you are not in control here. When people hear Ice Age, they often imagine a lost world that ended. But in a way, it never truly left, because the modern world was born from it. The glaciers carved the land. They shaped valleys, lakes, rivers, and coastlines that still define the Earth today. They changed where animals lived, where humans traveled, and where entire civilizations would one day rise. Even we carry its shadow. Our ancestors were tested there, in the cold, in the hunger, in the endless uncertainty. And the ones who survived passed something forward, not just genes, but resilience, ingenuity, endurance. The Ice Age was not just a time of ice. It was a time when Earth was louder in its silence, crueler in its beauty, and more honest about how fragile life really is. Because beneath everything we have built, every city, every border, every machine, there is still the same planet. The same Earth that once buried continents in ice. The same Earth that can change faster than comfort allows. The same Earth that does not need us, even though we need it for everything. And maybe that is the strangest feeling of all. That our world, warm and familiar as it seems, was shaped by an age so cold, so brutal, and so immense, that if you stood there for even a moment, you would understand something terrifying. This planet was never made for us. We were simply the ones who survived it,